California Governor Gavin Newsom has proposed a revival of the state's EV tax credit program, but it will exclude Tesla. And I think we all know the reason why. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about California Governor Gavin Newsom proposing a revival of the state's EV tax credit program, excluding Tesla vehicles. Now, this is really ridiculous, but I think, as I said from the beginning, that we all understand why this is happening. Before we get into the reason, an article, video, and whatnot, let's just go back. Now, under the Biden-Harris administration, there's an EV tax credit, right? $7,500 taxes. Now, the Trump administration may repeal the tax credit. So Gavin Newsom is proposing to revive the California EV tax credit to jump into effect if Trump revokes it on the federal level. You understand what I'm saying? But there are market share caps in the proposal, which means if you have a certain percentage of the market, you're going to be excluded. Now, let's just put it in perspective so we know that it's really about Tesla and not just some random rule talking about, oh, we're trying to spark innovation and competition, whatever. Anyway, Tesla has declined in sales in California, but they still have 55% of the market. Now, the next highest EV manufacturers are Hyundai and BMW at 5.6 and 5 respectively. And neither Hyundai or BMW are produced in USA. Tesla is American made right there in California, and they are the biggest percentage of brand new cars sold in the Golden State. So why would you put out this thing that will incentivize people to not get a Tesla? Hey, if I'm able to get a tax credit, $7,500, $10,000, and all I got to do is not buy a Tesla when I buy an electric vehicle, that's going to be a big incentive. You're picking winners and losers. We're getting way, way, way deep into communism over in California. Now, before I go any further, we have a reaction from Elon, a short one. Okay, you see this headline here. This is like a picture of a headline. Tesla excluded from EV buyer credits in California proposal. And the subheads, Governor Newsom plans to reboot state program for EV adoption. Guidelines under consideration would leave popular models out. Okay, so you want the Cybertruck, you want the Plaid, all of that? No way in California, unless you don't want to take advantage of the EV tax credit, which it kind of defeats the purpose in my humble opinion. But you see what Elon says, even though Tesla is the only company who manufactures their EVs in California. This is insane. So it's really crazy. So you want to give tax credits to people who buy vehicles that are not made in your state and not even made in America. You're incentivizing the offshoring of all that money that you want your people to spend on electric vehicles because you want a certain percentage of your fleet to be electric by 2030. What's it like? 30% of the fleet, something like this. How are you going to achieve that when using things like this to just be petty against Elon because of his conservative political points of view? It's ridiculous. I mean, California is a beautiful place, beautiful people, but your governance is completely ridiculous. Gavin Newsom, a complete clown, a clown. Okay, now I apologize for this freeze frame. It is what it is at the beginning of the video. Let's check this video out where they discuss a little bit more about what's happening. And of course, I will link to it in the box. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
What will this mean for competition? Could it spur competition?
I mean, it's definitely going to spur competition. I mean, if you're out there, you're shopping for a vehicle, one is eligible for a $7,500 rebate, one is not. I mean, you're going to shop both vehicles. Of course, everyone knows what Tesla is. They have a lot of brand recognition, but something like this is going to get shoppers to look and consider other things. And a lot of times that does ultimately end in a purchase. So without a doubt, Tesla will be at a disadvantage if this goes through.
Jessica, just set the context here, though. 7,500. What does that mean for the ultimate price point of an EV right now? Because, well, they're not cheap. And 7,500 doesn't seem that much in comparison to the cost of a Rivian, for example.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. But I think as we go towards the mass market consumer, they're looking for cheaper EVs. And in that case, $7,500 does become probably more attractive because someone that's buying a $100,000 EV, they're probably not bothered by these rebates anyhow. And at the end of the day, people are buying a lot of times, even though they shouldn't be, on monthly payment. And so when it's calculated out, you're looking at the monthly payment, the $7,500 apply, especially for lease customers. That can make a really big difference and make that a lot more attractive and get consumers to buy.
California.
That's a really good point. So if you can apply that to a lease, that is a big difference in your payment per month, especially if you're not going for the Rivian, $100,000. Look, I've seen the Rivians out there on the road. They're nice looking vehicles. I think the Cybertruck is quirky looking. I probably wouldn't drive it. I do have a big truck. I got an F-150. I think the F-150 is more ergonomic. It makes more sense. It's more practical. I like the way the truck is. The F-150 is an example of a truck that's been designed from years and years of input about what makes the most sense and just everything. It's been designed over a long period of time to perfection, in my humble opinion. But the Cybertruck and the Rivian, they're infants, although they are nice and appealing on the outside. They're still infants, and I feel like they got a long way to go before they really get perfected the way that an F-150 or a Toyota Corolla or something like that has been perfected over many years.
California, though, I'm assuming, has been a first adopter, early adopter of EVs more broadly when you compare state to state. So how much of the mass market is still left to penetrate in California?
Well, I think that's the whole thing, is that in California, the EV market share over 20%. So you have a lot of mass, or a lot of early adopters have already purchased. So getting the mass market is probably the bigger challenge here, because these people need convincing. They probably don't have highest income. They're kind of questioning whether they even want an EV. So if there was ever a time to have an incentive on EVs, it is for the mass market, not for the people that were early adopters that were excited about EVs to start with and probably didn't need much incentive to even purchase.
Just compare states with state. We know that Newsom has not been afraid to push back at Elon Musk and indeed perhaps be a key supporter of the EV sector. Would this be replicated elsewhere, do you think, if federal support did come away?
I mean, it's likely. We have things like CARB states. Other people are following some of the California Air Resource Board, some of the edicts that they have put out. So there is a precedent here of other states kind of following California's lead. But at the end of the day, this program does sound quite costly, especially if you're to sell.
They don't care about that in California. They don't care about burning money right in front of your face. They don't care about that at all. You know, they're going to bleed the taxpayer completely dry, and then they're going to spend money on stupid, petty stuff like this. This is a personal vendetta that Gavin Newsom has against Elon Musk, and it's completely dumb because, okay, your goal is to get a certain percentage of the fleet to be electric by 2030 or whenever it is. That's your goal. So if you're going to spend money on a thing to incentivize reaching that goal, why would you exclude the biggest manufacturer of the vehicles in the world, probably, but definitely in California? And why would you take all the tax revenue that come from the Tesla vehicles? Why would you take all of the manufacturing, all the jobs that come from that? Why would you take all that revenue away from Tesla being there and being supported if you're going to put resources toward it when you're talking about taxpayer money? It's dumb. You should put tax money out there to get the money back if you're going to do something like that. Now, I would say stay out of the way. That's just my humble opinion, and let everybody do what they want. If you want to get an EV, then so be it. If you want to get just a regular normie car, internal combustion engine, then so be it. It shouldn't be a thing where you're forced to go one way or the other.
Sell a lot of vehicles, so state's going to have to find funding for this program, which may be complicated. I mean, California has a clear order, zero emissions vehicle by 2035. And, if that's the case, then programs like this will have to exist to spur that mass market to start to buy.
So they want to have no internal combustion engine vehicles in this state by 2035. I guess that refers to new sales, because I'm sure there's millions of internal combustion, vehicles on the road right now. But 2035, you're not going to be able to buy one. So we're going to spend taxpayer money to incentivize not buying the biggest manufacturer of electric vehicles in the state and a manufacturer that manufactures in the state. Dumb.
If they really wanted to spur the mass market, you'd anticipate that you let Chinese EVs in, which are much cheaper than US competitors, who therefore, given that won't be the case.
Man, don't do that. If that happens, they will completely dominate the EV market. I guarantee you they're going to have them cheap 25,000. Oh, boy, don't do that.
Where are the cheaper vehicles? Who will this end up supporting?
Well, I mean, I think any automakers, I mean, they're all kind of scrambling. I mean, in this era of affordability, cost of living increases, inflation, people just feeling a lot less wealthy than they have in the past has been a big issue for car buyers. So I think a lot of automakers are trying to focus on the lower end. So anyone that is delivering good value that kind of has maybe like a $40,000 price tag, they're probably going to get a lot more eyeballs than some of these other things that we have seen, like the Jaguar coming out in a few years, or any of these, six-figure EV type of vehicles.
All right, so there we have it. The dumbest people in this country are in charge in California. I just want to add one more piece, then wrap it on up and put the bow on top. I've said it quite a bit on live streams and whatnot, but they're so dumb in California. You heard them talking about they don't want to have any more internal combustion engine vehicles by 2035. Okay, but the way that they take care of the roads in California is through the gas tax. But what's already happening is, since there are so many electric vehicles out on the road and a lot fewer internal combustion engine vehicles, they're not getting as much money from the gas tax. So now they're trying to charge you to drive, basically. However many miles you drive, they want to tax that. Now, I don't know how that's going to work, but you're going to go into an old emission station, or they might still have those in California. Go to the emission station, drive up in there, and they're going to measure your odometer. Is that what's going to happen? What if you get caught rolling your odometer back artificially? Are you going to get sent to the penitentiary to make big rocks to little rocks over that? And also, do you know that electric vehicles are 30% heavier than internal combustion engine vehicles on average? So you're going to have these heavier vehicles on the roads that are not supported by gas tax. So you might end up having the per mile tax be higher than the gas tax. And you're going to have a strain on the grid, because what's going to power these vehicles? Where is the power going to come from? How are we going to power these plants to get you the electricity? A lot of coal and everything else being burnt. So you're trying to go green, that ain't going to happen. You're trying to spend less money, that ain't going to happen. It's going to be a whole big mess. And I'm here to see it. California, you guys with the governance sucks. That's why I'm going to stay over here on my side. Okay, down south, Sunbelt state, something good. California, left coast, all of that, I'm good to go. I'm not going to do it. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your thoughts on the whole situation that's going on here with the electric vehicles? Do you think that Gavin Newsom is being petty because he doesn't like Elon Musk? Is it a smart thing to do to bring back a tax credit of $7,500, but exclude the biggest manufacturer of EVs? That happens also be in your state. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This guy, Gavin, is an idiot. But you know what's funny is that he's going to be the leading candidate in 2028 if he so chooses. Who else do they have? I mean, as I said, Gavin is a moron, but we saw what they put out there this time. Tampon Tim, creepy, sleepy Joe's sidekick, sleepy, lazy Kamala. It was a complete mess. So he still might be the best, although he's a moron. And I don't just say that because I want to insult him. Look at what he's doing in California. This is not the game plan of a man that has a brain in his head, in my humble opinion. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that is all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.